Good day, everyone. My name is Chielo C. Capala, Teacher 2 of Bukal Elementary School. I am going to present my master's thesis titled Implementation of Disaster Risk Reduction Management among Elementary Schools in Sariaya East District, Division of Quezon, Basis for a Proposed Enhancement Program. For the introduction, disasters are serious disruption occurring over a relatively short period of time, affecting the functioning of a community or a society as it causes widespread human, material, economic, or environmental loss, which exceeds the ability of the affected community or society to cope using its own resources by European Environment Agency 2023. Sariaya, Quezon is vulnerable to natural disasters like volcanic eruptions, flooding, and fires due to its proximity to Mount Banahaw. Historical eruptions have caused significant damage, necessitating strong disaster preparedness and mitigation measures. By studying and assessing the current disaster risk reduction measures in place, the research can identify gaps and weaknesses in the existing protocols, leading the development of strategies that enhance the overall resilience of schools in Sariaya East District. Moving on to the statement of the problem, number 1. How do the school heads, school DRRM coordinators, and school DRRM committee assess the school capabilities of the DRRM program in terms of human resources, logistics, knowledge, innovation, and education, trainings, and capacities and mechanisms? As assessed by the respondents on the capabilities of the Disaster Risk Reduction Management Program, this is the summary of findings. Human resources get the highest mean of 4.32, which means very much capable, while trainings had the lowest mean of 3.97, very capable. Overall, the mean obtained is 4.09 with a qualitative index of very capable. And for the conclusion, the DRRM program of Sariaya East District has very much capable human resources and very capable logistics, knowledge, innovation, and education, trainings, and capacities and mechanisms. And for the SOP number 2, how do the respondents assess the status of the implementation of the DRRM program in terms of disaster preparedness, disaster prevention and mitigation, disaster response, and disaster rehabilitation and recovery? And for the summary of findings, the status of the implementation of the disaster risk reduction management programs is very evident as assessed by the respondents with an overall mean of 4.03. Where disaster preparedness garnered the highest mean of 4.10, and disaster recovery and rehabilitation attained the lowest mean of 3.94. While the conclusion is the DRRM program of Sariaya East District is very well implemented, where disaster preparedness is considered widely practiced as it obtained the highest mean, while disaster recovery and rehabilitation obtained the lowest mean. For the SOP number 3, is there any significant difference in the assessed capabilities in the implementation of the DRRM program among the 3 classifications of the respondents? For the summary of findings, there is no significant difference among respondents in terms of human resources, logistics, knowledge, innovation, and education, trainings, and capacities and mechanisms. In terms of human resources, the p-value of 0.769 was obtained, while in logistic, a p-value of 0.406 was attained. Also, in terms of knowledge, innovation, and education, a p-value of 0.655 was acquired. On the other hand, a p-value of 0.518 was obtained in terms of trainings. Lastly, capacities and mechanisms garnered a p-value of 0.259. Since the p-values obtained were greater than the significant level of 0.05, then it can be derived that there are no significant differences on the responses of the school head, DRRM coordinator, and DRRM committee on the assessed capabilities in the implementation of the disaster risk reduction management. And for the conclusion, the school head, school DRRM coordinator, and school DRRM committee members have the same assessment capabilities in the implementation of the disaster risk reduction management among school head, DRRM coordinator, and DRRM committee. Moving on to SOP number 4, is there any significant difference in the assessed status of the implementation of the DRRM program among the 3 classifications of respondents? It was shown in the table that the 4 indicators do not yield a significant difference among the responses of the respondents since the p-value obtained 0.434, 0.149, 0.398, and 0.282 were all greater than the significant level of 0.05. Thus, a decision of failure to reject the null hypothesis was made. Thus, there is no significant difference on the status of the implementation of the Disaster Risk Reduction Management Program as assessed by school head, DRRM coordinator, and DRRM committee in terms of disaster prevention and mitigation, disaster preparedness, disaster response, and disaster recovery and rehabilitations. While the conclusion is the school head, school DRRM coordinator, and school DRRM committee members have the same perception of the assessed status of implementation of the DRRM programs. Now moving on to the recommendations. Based on the findings and conclusions set out above, the researchers' recommendations are as follows. Number 1 is intensified training on first aid and basic life support must be included in the DepEd curriculum, which will capacitate the school community during disasters. Number 2, local government units should focus on enhancing recovery and rehabilitation by developing a comprehensive recovery plan that involves the establishment of partnerships with relevant organizations and allocating resources for post-disaster efforts. And for number 3, the school community must encourage innovation and adoption of best practices through benchmarking and continuous evaluation of the DRRM program. Maintain consistency in the implementation of the DRRM programs and ensure that all stakeholders have the same understanding of the execution of the DRRM initiatives. Lastly, consider the proposed enhancement plan for improved DRRM programs. Now, here are the references. Abejuela, HJM, EGEM, and Rosario of 2021. And we have Kumigod, Connolly 2017. And of course, the DepEd order and the Republic Act 10121 and Sariaya 2020 about Sariaya. Okay, thank you so much for listening. Have a nice day. Thank you.